It's one thing that I'm going to share with you in this video keeps most people in the average category of life. And when I mean average category, I mean they probably pay too much in tax over the year, don't we all? They probably invest and rely heavily into a pension, and then they never truly get to retire at the age they wish they could. And this one thing is to do with equity in our homes. You see, most people own a home. Let me draw one for you. Very good. And let's say this home is worth £400,000. Now in that home, that's the property price, what it's currently worth, they might have equity of, let's say, £200,000. And then they'll of course have a mortgage of £200,000. Now, whilst this is very good, this is probably actually more common than you think. In fact, I would actually say that some people own more than that in their own home. The problem with this is that there is a huge amount of money tied up in the property. Now, of course, property is actually a fantastic way, when we own it at home, a fantastic way of making equity, but it's equally can be a liability. And I'm talking to someone who has put a lot of money into their own home over the last few years. And actually there is a lot of money that we could use that is tax-free to go out and invest into our future. And when I say tax-free, people often have paid down their mortgage, or they have a large amount of equity in their home because it either came from earned income, or maybe it was gifted, or maybe it was inherited. Whatever way it came from, it's often been taxed before it lands in the property. And therefore, if we now extract that through refinancing the property, well, that money is tax-free because the tax was already paid on it. But the problem that I often see, and this is a large assumption because I talk to a lot of people, I work with a lot of people in property, but the problem I often see is that people get stuck in a cycle. They earn well, they pay tax, they have a comfortable lifestyle with lots of nice things, and their main objective is to pay down their mortgage. But the problem that comes from that is that once they've done that for a few years, they've been in that cycle, they start to feel like there is no out. There is no other option for them other than to continue along this path, try and continue up the career ladder, and eventually get to the point of retirement one day. And at that point, they can relax, they've paid down their mortgage, and they can sail off into the sunset. But for a lot of people, they can reframe this for themselves. They can do this earlier if they actually focus more on what they have achieved, what they have got in their property, and actually use this to their advantage. You see, if we changed this opportunity and we take the same £400,000 house and now we look to refinance it and put a new mortgage on this property and actually take as much of that money out as possible, which although feels like a risk, bear with me for a minute. If we now actually put a new mortgage of £360,000 on this property, so it's a mortgage, that's the property price, and we're basically getting a 90% mortgage. Now, we're obviously freeing up this money. We need to pay back the old mortgage, which was £200,000 here. So we're now left with £160,000, which is tax-free money. And this is our own equity that we've released, and therefore it is tax-free. You see, we've now got £40,000 left in as a deposit, which is 10%. We've now released £360,000 of mortgage, paid off the old mortgage, which was up here, and now we're left with our £160,000 of equity. And as I say, it's tax-free. But we need to put this money to use because we're now paying a higher interest rate, probably, given the interest rates, on a higher level of debt on our new home. So we're going to be paying more monthly. So we need to put this money to work in order to counteract that. But let's say we took this money and we put it into a limited company. Just stick with me for a minute. I know for some people, personal name is better, but often if you are a higher earner, you're paying high tax, the chances are you're better to use a limited company. If we now take this money, we put it in a limited company, and now we go and buy 5 properties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we buy 5 of 160,000, it means we have about £32,000 for each property, which you'll probably say, Justin, where are you going to get a house for £32,000? Well, nowhere really, or nowhere that you should buy one. But what you can do is take that £32,000 and you can use that as a deposit and your fees on 5 lovely 2-bedroom turnkey houses, probably at around a purchase price of £90,000 or £100,000 each. That might be in the northwest, might be in Yorkshire, might be even in the Northeast. But we now have 5 turnkey investment properties that we're going to rent out. And out of those 5 properties, let's say that on average they make £250 profit per month. Times that by 12, they now make 3,000 profit per year. Times that by the amount of houses, which is 5, and that gives us £15,000 in profit per annum. So you might say, Justin, you know, what can I do with £15,000 profit? It's tied up in this limited company. But here's the beautiful thing. When we released this money from our property, and then we took that and invested it into this new limited company that we've opened, we did that as a director's loan. We have loaned this money to our new business. Our new business has now gone and bought 5 properties. Our new business now spits out £15,000 a year, which now means for 10.6 years, the first 10.6 years that you earn £15,000, you can pay yourself back that money from the director's loan tax-free. And then you can take that money and actually use that to pay back down the debt on your mortgage and obviously service the new repayment charge that you have. And this is the point that I wanted to make in this video. A lot of people are focusing here. They're focusing on paying down the debt, but that will only get you so far and you'll be very much stuck in the cycle of doing so. Whereas a lot of people should actually spend more time here, focusing on the money they do have and how could they more effectively invest the money they do have into owning assets, into earning money through investments. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts, good or bad, in the comments below. If you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.